Welcome to day two, mostly remote. Welcome. We are here at the Academy of Medicine on the Georgia Institute of Technology campus in Atlanta, and it's a pleasure for me to introduce our first keynoter of day two of the event, a gentleman I've met at Georgia Tech when he visited last summer, Dr. Vijay Chandru, co-founder and founder and executive chairman of Strand Life Sciences in India, currently adjunct professor of biosystem science and engineering, executive advisor to the well-known Art Park of the Indian Institute of Science, specialized in operations research, AI and robotics at the AI and Robotics Tech Park. It's a pleasure to introduce him. He had a career also as a professor of engineering at Purdue University, and knows Georgia Tech very well. He's indeed a technology pioneer and a regular participant every year since 2006 at the World Economic Forum, and he has been recognized among the 50 pioneers of change by India Today, the India Today magazine. He is the embodiment of one of the takeaway of the first day of the event, which is to say that India is increasingly becoming a technology and innovatory power, not relying as much on its incredible achievements in IT outsourcing, but standing on its own as one of the world leader in producing new technologies, commercializable and also basic technologies with implications for science. So welcome. I hope you can hear us clearly, and it's good to see you. I hope, well.
Yeah, thank you, John and Ani. It's certainly my pleasure and privilege to be here and addressing the audience on day two of the conference. And I guess it's in the morning there, so I'll say good morning. But it's 7 in the evening here, 7:30 actually. But thank you for that nice introduction. I suppose I have about 25 minutes or so. Is that what just to be clear?
You do indeed.
Okay, great. Thank you. So let me see if I can get up my slides and we can jump right into it. I'm right in the middle of an extraordinary meeting also in India. It's called the Bengaluru Tech Summit. It's sort of India's big tech event. We have about 5,000 participants, and it's a huge big show, and it's probably the first live conference that I've been in a couple of years. So it's I'm on a break from that. I'll have to get back to it after this call, but let me bring up my slides, and hopefully we should be all good. Are you able to see them, and is it in full screen mode now?
Yes, it's visible. Yeah. Perfect.
Okay. Great, thank you. So I like to use this wonderful picture of our garden campus and the university, the Indian Institute of Science, where I returned to India in 1992, and I've been on the faculty here since then. Initially in computer science, and then I think, as John described, I now do some of the work in the AI and robotics and bioengineering fields. And I'm also the founder of Strand Life Sciences, which is kind of India's first precision medicine company in genomics. And I'll say a little more about Strand as we go through some of the case studies. So very quickly, I think the excitement about unicorns of India, and by the definition of a unicorn is a $1 billion valuation. I think of these 108 unicorns, maybe only about 20% are actually listed on public markets, but the others are mainly have achieved the billion valuation primarily through private equity valuations, not so they're not tradable yet, but it does seem that it's a fairly substantive group of high value tech companies that have come up, and a lot of the momentum has actually been in the last 3-4 years, which in a way, the pandemic years, but has as the picture shows, a fair number of so 23 plus 44 plus 11 or so coming just in the last 3 years. And the interesting aspect is, of course, that one city sort of stands out, and Bengaluru being India's sort of unicorn capital, and with a range of successful sort of startups which have achieved this valuation, and the domains have been e-tail, so e-commerce, fintech, and some internet software and services companies. But there are also some interesting new emerging companies around gaming and content and hospitality, etc. Right. So to give you a little more insight into Bengaluru's performance, I think about 44% of the unicorns in 2019 were from Bengaluru, and some of these were pretty strong brands. Flipkart, which now of course is a subsidiary of Walmart. There's Ola, which is the competitor to Uber, and so on. Byju's in e-learning, and Swiggy is a food delivery platform funded by Axel Partners, and has done really well, and so forth. Right, about 57% of the cumulative unicorn valuation just emanates from Bengaluru, and of the 23 unicorns announced this year, thus far, 11 are in Bangalore. So roughly maintaining that 45% kind of mark. And funding as well, some of the larger sort of fundraisers and so on have been in these Bangalore-based tech startups. Well, what's so special about Bangalore? And and I think I'll just give you a very quick overview of just the city itself. I think just historically, and I'm a fifth generation Bangalorean, so I'm really kind of been familiar with the city right from childhood, I think. And so we were always told that the name in those days, the British, the anglicized version, Bangalore, actually derived from Bengaluru, which was in turn a colloquial version of Bendakale Uru, which means actually the town of boiled beans. So I used to, when I was a student at MIT, I used to tell people that I'm from the other bean towns, right? So just, but that was a bit of a romantic idea. I think the archaeologists have now found inscription stones and so on that date, Bangalore back to at least the 9th century. The name itself appears on some of the inscription stones, but there's certainly been activity since even the 8th century. The city has a population of about 13 million. It's India's 4th largest city by population. It's projected to grow to about 26 million in 10 years in population. So it will be one of the mega cities. It's well known for its concentration of talent. India, Bengaluru probably has the highest science and tech technical talent, highest density possibly of PhDs and software engineers and so on. The science and tech academic research centers, well, my parent institute is sort of the mother node. We are a little over 100 years old, and the university has about close to 5,000 students, about 5 to 600 faculty now. But also it's science and tech, and we're building a medical school and introducing a new MD PhD program and so on. So a lot of that tech sort of culture in the city comes from the Indian Institute of Science, and spin-offs from the institute have been the Indian Space Research Organization, well known for its ability to now launch satellites and a very active program with with now missions to Mars and the Moon and manned space missions and so forth. We also have several high power higher education and research institutions. I've listed them. And the other phenomenon is that many of the international, multinational companies, tech companies, actually have their R&D centers in Bengaluru. And at one point, I guess the Jack Welch Center at that GE used to run in Bengaluru had about 2,500 PhDs, and actually it was a huge operation, and was actually generating a very, very large percentage of the patents and IP that GE held in those years. And because of the cooler climate and it being a garden city, it's always been attractive to international professionals, and of course its airport infrastructure and so on are coming up to par. I think there's still work there, but it's starting to look like a real modern city. I think one thing we have in common with Boston is bad drivers and wicked potholes. So I think that hopefully will get fixed pretty soon with the other infrastructure. Bad drivers, it might take a little bit longer, I think. Yeah. But along with all this excitement about unicorns, India is generally very, very buzzed in some sense, is buzzing with excitement about the entrepreneurial sort of energy that we see amongst the young people. It is a young country demographically, and so all kinds of new labels are being poetically licensed. So we have this notion of soonicorns, which are soon to be unicorns, and our financial papers, newspapers, and magazines are full of articles like these, identifying both the venture capital that is supporting. I see, amongst these this array of faces on this slide, at least a couple of young VCs from Bloom Ventures and Pi Ventures and so on, who've been, funding deep tech companies, startups. And again, as you see, the share of Bengaluru in Soonicorns is at about 43% or so. So that seems to be sort of the flavor of things in terms of all this tech startup excitement. I do want to point out one of the interesting phenomena here about these unicorns, and also in general about how tech in India has taken on a new confidence in subsets. I think John sort of referred to that, but let me give you something very specific. So I think India, just like the US did with the internet, I think India also has invested in creating public goods, which are, as our friend Nandan Nilekani, one of the founders of Infosys and later a politician, has pointed out, I think these are sort of basic rails for the public system, and how the entrepreneurs then can leverage these rails to build applications. And so like the internet, we've had something called the India Stack, which started out as the Unique ID project, where every citizen gets a unique ID. But the way that was constructed to be able to handle scale at 1.3 billion population, it has also a very unique architecture, and along with the India Stack was developed the payment interfaces, the unified payment interfaces, and now we're also getting health transaction interfaces for the universal healthcare aspirations of the country. But on the financial side, it's the adoption has, of course, been extraordinary, and India, in many ways, is internationally the leader in fintech operations, and consequently, the fintech unicorns have also had a very good run in India, and Bangalore has been kind of, again, a center of activity around that. Recently, a second infrastructure or public good that has been created is what we call the Open Network for Digital Commerce. And this actually will allow, even small operators in retail to be able to leverage a public network and be able to transact commercially on the the IT infrastructure, and that'll be really interesting to see how that goes. And one anticipates that around healthcare as well and digital health, we should be seeing a lot of entrepreneurial success building on top of this India Stack. So just wanted to bring out that there are some parallels between how tech giants have been created around the internet investments that were made in the US, and India is sort of going in that direction as well with the whole India stack approach. And again, there's some details about how the fintech unicorns are organized against payments and insurance and net banking, etc. But I will, in the interest of time, move on. I just wanted to do two quick case studies. One is the latest unicorn. It's a company called MallBio, which again, had its roots in our university. It was incubated as towards the development of a handheld PCR, and so it's sort of a Cepheid equivalent medtech device company, and it has recently acquired the unicorn status. It's actually the 108th unicorn. And it achieved this, with an investment from the Temasek Group from Singapore. And this is just a couple of pictures of the founders and the R&D lab in Bangalore that has builds these devices. These devices are both an extraction unit and a PCR, RT-PCR. They are battery operated and can actually be run in even smaller rural clinics and so forth, where power supply might be a bit of a challenge. So, and these really sort of took off during the pandemic, of course. There was a lot of expansion. And but I think now they have an installed base which allows them to introduce a lot of new tests through the installed base, and hence their valuation is holding. Just like to finish up with a quick note on the company that I built 22 years ago. I guess we founded Strand as India's sort of first genomics and bioinformatics group. And then about 10 years into our running, we began to look at actually building laboratories that would come into offering diagnostic services, and this has given Strand a position as sort of India's leading precision medicine solutions company. We also provide a lot of infrastructure and technology as solutions to the global markets, but within India, we also drive diagnostics. And just about late last year, so about a year back, India's largest industrial group, the Reliance Industries Limited, acquired an 80% stake in Strand Life Sciences, and the interesting impact of that acquisition was about a 4% rise in the ticker of Reliance, which of course, given a market cap of about 220 billion or so at that point, it was a unicorn impact of precision medicine in India. It's a different way of looking at this type of tech embedding in a larger sort of commercial enterprise that that might be another direction in which we may see tech startups, build value for the overall economy, even, obviously, and success for the entrepreneurs. So just wanted to give you a flavor of all of these companies that have come together, the tech excitement, and the fact that there is a sense of innovation, invention, translation of research, and bringing all of this to have impact on local and global markets. So I think I've just about kept time. So thank you very much for the invitation, and look forward to staying in touch with all of you. Thank you. I'll stop sharing now. Thanks.
I think we may have time for some questions. Well, barely. So I noticed 9:25 is the ending time. So thank you so much for sharing these thoughts with us and for rebroadcast purposes. We let you go back to the Bengaluru summit. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Take care. Have a good day.